He has his own. I need to stop moving my head.
It's hard to get used to. If you notice some of the guests, they like lean back because the chairs do lean back, like Fat Joe from the 2000s. And it's a song. And oh, hi there. Welcome to Braving the Brightside. I'm Dan Bradley. Some stories don't just happen. They shape us. They carve new paths, leave marks that we carry, and sometimes they lead us toward a light we didn't even know we could reach. On this show, we sit in those moments together, listening, learning, and honoring the journey it takes to find hope in the hardest of places. This is Braving the Brightside, where your story matters, and so does your healing. I'm really excited for today's episode. We have a phenomenal guest with a phenomenal message lined up for you guys. But before we dive in, I want to start us off on a bright note. Every week I find a story that reminds us that there's still good in the world. Moments of kindness, connection, and hope that can cut through the noise of this world. Big or small, these stories remind us why it's worth showing up for each other. I found this website. It's literally called goodgoodgood.co. Not quite .com, but .co. And it's literally just a website of just really feel-good news articles. And they broke it down into different categories, ranging from animals, arts and culture, mental health, racial justice, holidays, government's doing good. I mean, there's a ton of information here and just a ton of feel-good news stories that can really brighten your day. So highly recommend it. I'll probably, I'll link the article in the description of the podcast. But without further ado, here we go. Here is the article that's going to make you smile. Autistic artist works with city to implement happy-to-talk benches, combating loneliness. In the hubbub of London's Camden Town, Oliver Chan thinks it's a lot about loneliness. Loneliness is an important topic for me because my autism can make it harder for me to form connections with other people, he wrote. I tend to talk about a very specific range of subjects and bring up the same things repeatedly, and this can make people not want to interact with me. He also struggles with joining in group conversations, with busier places bringing about even more anxiety and loneliness. Everyone is rushing around and it seems like no one will notice I'm here, he continued. While Chan's experience with autism might amplify feelings of loneliness, he knows it's something that everyone experiences. In fact, this became abundantly clear in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. With standard meeting places like pubs and restaurants shut down during the pandemic, Chan stumbled upon an article about happy-to-talk benches, or happy-to-chat benches, as they're called by Allison Owen Jones, who started the phenomenon. The premise is simple. Advertise a park bench with a goal of getting strangers to sit together and talk. Simple as that. With all these lonely people out there, Chan said, I felt it was important to do something about it. I decided I would try to promote them in Camden. This is Camden, England, by the way. So don't go around in Camden, New Jersey looking for benches. I feel like if you do find a bench, I don't know if it's going to be happy to talk benches in Camden, New Jersey. In 2022, Chan, who is also an artist, reached out to Camden Council's park managers to bring the benches to his community. There are now happy-to-talk benches in 4 locations in his English town, hopefully with more to follow. A Camden Council spokesperson told Ham and High, connecting with others in this community is an important way to tackle loneliness and boost well-being. The initiative encourages people to socialize in our open spaces, and we hope to work with community groups to organize events around these bench locations where more people are encouraged to join and connect. Chan and his council member counterparts invite anyone to take a seat. The benches have signs on them that read, say hi if you're passing by or sitting down, and Chan's own mother, Caroline, even crocheted a colorful sign for one of the benches to invite more participants in. She thinks the benches could be taken up another level to accommodate more seats, adding to Ham and High that she'd be willing to raise funds to make the project grow. I just think we can all work together in collaboration, she said. Working together is something the Chans do very well. The family also owns a cafe, Oliver's Village Cafe, where Chan hosts Chatty Cafe, sessions, and bakes cakes to invite strangers to talk in an indoor environment. While Chan writes that the Chatty Cafe scheme has been popular with over 60s, he hopes more of his peers are eager to join in soon too. I find it challenging to make connections with other people, he wrote in another article. It doesn't help that in England, the culture is insular and people are very reserved. It takes a bit of courage here for strangers to approach each other and become friends. For those who are willing to be brave, Chan will meet them when they're ready. If someone's having a bad day or can't find a friend to talk to, he said of his bench project, it's there for people. That's the article. And I thought that was actually quite beautiful, especially in this world where especially post-COVID, we tend to just kind of stare down at our phones and would rather just walk right past each other rather than just a simple wave and hi, which I get. I'm just as guilty of it as anybody else. But I thought that was really, really cool and heartwarming, especially coming from somebody with autism who is aware of the challenges that people have trying to have a conversation with them, to keep pushing and keep fighting through to find other ways of making that happen with not just friends, but with strangers. And I think that's a pretty good thing for this world right now, is connecting with strangers, seeing who's coming from where and where everyone's at. It's important. So once again, check it out. The website is goodgoodgood.co. Again, I think it's a British website, so that's why it doesn't say .com. I don't know. I can't back that up. I didn't do a whole lot of research on that. But again, every week I'll be doing an article that hopefully makes you smile, makes you feel a little bit of good about this world. And I will be listing those websites at the bottom of this podcast description every week, so you can click on it and have fun and hopefully find an article that lights your heart on fire too. All right, let's turn our attention to the guest story. Today's guests face battles not just in the world around her, but in the landscape of her own mind. Carrie's journey through mental health struggles and into healing is one of grit, vulnerability, and the kind of honesty we desperately need more of. The conversation of mental health is a super serious and super important one. Everyone can relate. Every single person out there has hit some sort of brick wall or stumbled upon a time when their brain and their own mind have kind of turned against them, or they get stuck in place because of their brain, because of their mind, because of their thoughts, insecurities. It's something we can all relate to. I'm really excited for you to hear Carrie's story, and I'm honored to have her on the podcast. So without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Every so often you meet someone whose story feels like it carries the weight of 1,000 storms and the light of 1,000 sunrises. Carrie is one of those people. Her journey isn't just about what she's survived. It's about the grace, grit, and growth that came after. Today we're pulling up a chair to hear that story in her very own words. Carrie, the mic is yours. How the hell are you?
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
I feel like a celebrity. You were on my podcast, and now I'm on your podcast.
Yeah, this is pretty wild. Actually, I forgot about that. I was on her podcast.
I got such a good grade on that. Yeah, my professor loved that project. He was like, you should continue it.
And you're like, yeah, far out, definitely. And then you just didn't do it.
No.
Yeah. That's like most of the things I've done in my life.
Oh, no, that's just most of what I did in college.
Yeah.
Sometimes I fought with her now.
That's awesome. Well, listen, how are you today? How are things?
I'm good. I did some work today. I
Okay.
sent emails. I looked at spreadsheets.
What do you do?
So I'm a grants coordinator for a pediatric research institute. And so I worked with a lot of doctors. I looked at a lot of spreadsheets, sent a lot of emails. I don't write the science part. I do like the non-science parts. And I do a lot of coordination, a lot of email writing, a lot of like, hey, can you please like use the right format?
Mm-hmm.
That was so great. Dr. So-and-so from Columbia, or like I haven't emailed Harvard yet. I will one day soon. I will work with Harvard.
I love that that's on your bucket list right there.
Well, I don't know, maybe not anymore, considering
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah, working with people so that they can save children's lives.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you play a part in it. Come on.
Yeah, I helped them get millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's an important part of that.
Yeah.
That's great. So, welcome to Braving the Brightside.
Happy to be here.
Well, let's just jump in. I'm going to start asking some questions. You're going to start telling your story. We're going to hang out and have a good time.
Wow.
So right now, in your life, what's something that has been bringing you joy lately?
Just one thing or like?
I mean, it could be a couple of things. It doesn't have to be one thing. How's life for Carrie right now?
It's pretty good. I live with my boyfriend in like a cool part of the city, and what used to be my cat's now our cat, and they're best friends.
It's adorable.
And I know they hang out without me a lot, and he'll like send me photos of them on the couch when I'm at work, and I'm like, man, I could be there, but I'm at work. And yeah, I mean, just lots of people in my life now, doing lots of fun stuff. Also having lots of rest days where we just hang out on the couch and watch sometimes Jersey Shore, sometimes a lot of Sopranos. Right now we're watching Silo, and yeah, same. I would just say the boyfriend, my support network.
That's awesome. Yeah. Sounds like you have like a warm home.
Yeah.
That's like a big part of it right there.
Yeah.
That's great. Good for you. All right. Pop quiz. Describe your life with one word.
Say cozy.
Love that.
Yeah.
Cozy.
There's a lot in there, a lot of warmth, a lot of softness.
That's great. That's awesome. Especially from hearing your story and reading your story. Cozy sounds immaculate for you right now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good for you. Well, we're going to just jump right into it and have you tell your story. Is that cool?
Okay.
One of the things that I really like about Carrie's story is she focuses on resilience. And you know, I wasn't just trying to bolster your story when I said resilience and grit. You've fought your way out of some situations for sure. Yeah. Do you remember like a specific time? You know, one of the things you said that you wrote to me was you felt like sometimes you feel like in your more dramatic days you were born sad, which is a great line. I love that. Hello, Irish Protestant. That's what you said.
You were not Irish Catholic. Yeah. Important distinction.
Yes, a very important distinction. Irish Catholic here. So I get it. But that's interesting. So, you know, you were anxious at a young age, I take it.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, lots of like, I mean, it would manifest physically a lot. Like my stomach would hurt all the time. I would get this weird pain in my shoulder, I think because my tummy hurt a lot. And I remember just being like in elementary school and just dreading going to school to do like math and like fractions and like read books. I was just like, what is this about? Like, why does it viscerally feel like it sucked so bad?
More than just a regular kid not wanting to go to school. Yeah. Like this was
dread.
Brutal.
Yeah. It was like, it was like, for a long time, it just felt like, the way I would describe it would be like, it just felt like I had tar just like hanging off of my body. It was hot and heavy and just like, it was hard to carry. And so like, I think from a young age, there were definitely at least signals to me that like, this is a little bit more than just regular, like, I don't want to go to school because I don't like my teachers. It was like, it just like hung on me.
Wow. What age was this? Was this pretty much early on in school, like right off the bat, like in terms of when you can remember, or like?
I mean, like, I'd say like at least through starting at elementary school.
Right.
And then like, I mean, middle school is, for everyone, it's its own separate ordeal. And then, but yeah, I mean, I think at its roots, it was pretty early on, like elementary school.
Yeah. Wow. I can't imagine what that felt like. Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to go to school for the most part, but I mean, even then, eventually I warmed up to just seeing other people. So, but that sounds like, you know, anxious on a whole other level, especially at such a young age.
Yeah. And like, and I was good at school. Like, it wasn't like it's not like I didn't want to go because I was doing poorly. Like I was excelling in a lot of areas. And like, I mean, I was also like a rather precocious child and like I had opinions about like George W. Bush and like, I didn't like him.
Yeah.
I knew who he was. And like, I mean, and I still had like I had an active enough life. Like I spent a lot of time with my grandfather. I would go with him to his Marine Corps meetings and his VFW meetings. And like, so it was always the two of us for a lot of the time. And so like, I was still going places. I was still doing stuff and being active at school, but like, I was fucking Zach kid. I don't know.
Yeah. And I guess at that point, you didn't even know, no, you didn't know what, you just thought that was just life.
Yeah. Like this was like also a guy who like went to war.
Right.
So went to war, had a bunch of kids. And then like, I think he really enjoyed like living out his senior years in retirement with one of his grandkids. But
yeah,
I didn't really have a vocabulary for that kind of stuff. And I don't know that he was really primed. Just being a product of his generation, like, it wasn't primed to like look for that stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't really like, I can't really blame him
No.
or like anyone else or even my teachers, because like I don't
know. Yeah, I mean, especially at such a young age, I can't imagine it's hard for anybody to pinpoint that, especially back in the day.
Yeah.
Back then, you know?
Early 2000s, like that wasn't really when we were talking about like how we are now with like kid, adolescent, teenager mental health, school mental health. Like, it was just very different, a very different atmosphere and a very different culture.
Yeah, for sure. It was all based on TRL and Mission Accomplished, George W. Bush.
Wow, VH1.
VH1, yeah. Yeah, how do you think that shaped how you saw yourself back then? Did you struggle for, it's already one thing that you felt that way and you didn't know how to speak that, but in terms of like I imagine your confidence in the way you looked at yourself, I think would be very conflicted.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like shit. I thought I was a piece of shit. Like
That's brutal at at a young age.
I mean, it manifested in like, I had this like eating disorder in for most of middle school. And like, that is, I think, I mean, from my experience, like, this is not speaking generally, but like, it is like the distillation of like self-hatred, of self-criticism, of needing control over your life. And that's how it manifested for me. It was like, I was very restrictive. I just pointed every bad feeling that I had inward, and that's how it came out. That's how it manifested. And then, I mean, I ain't gone over that. Still didn't really see treatment for that just because of everything going on. And then, I mean, I still struggled even after that. And so like, there was always a disconnect between how I felt about myself and then how I performed.
Also the timing of it, because I found it interesting when you said like, the juxtaposition of what you were feeling inside and how you felt like a piece of shit and you didn't really know what that meant and where that was coming from, to you weren't really showing that to to adults in your life at that point, to your parents or anything like that, or
no, I mean, like, I don't remember acting out really, but like, I mean, also like a lot of this conversation is like through my own lens of like, this was my experience of experiencing it. And so like, I don't know what it was like kind of being on the outside. I don't know if but because it's like, I think a lot, like, being able to reflect on this now, it's also like, this is years and years after the fact where like I've been able to process this and really look at it through my own lens, through the lens of others, and kind of lend to myself and the people around me at the time and even now of like just lending them grace and giving them that grace and empathy of like what was going on with everybody around me, what was going on with me, and that like both I and everyone around me, we were doing the best with what we had and like when we were doing what we could.
Absolutely.
And like, I think that's a lot of what I've learned throughout this whole experience. And so even, I think even in spite of this disconnect of how I thought about myself, how it came out in my behavior, or like in how I spoke about myself, I don't really fault anyone at this point. And so like there was a major disconnect and I was feeling really poorly. And then at one point,
it's not like you were neglected. It's not like, you know,
no,
we're out in your own.
No. I mean, like, no, like there are people around me. Like I had adults around me. I was always going to family. Like it's not like, it was like that. And so, but I think it was just hard for myself and for the adults around me because I put it all inside. I turned it all kind of, I think it wanted to point outwards, but I always turn it back in towards myself.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important for people to hear because, you know, you don't know what's going on inside of somebody. And I like that you said that's not nobody's fault. Like you look back on grace. I mean, I think I've said that almost every episode, but it's important that people have grace with what they're dealing with back then. And they were doing the best they could with what they had. You know, and your story is no different, obviously. And also when you tell your story, it's not like we're looking to point fingers at anybody else. This is not like one sole area of like, oh, this is it. This is why this happened. We figured it out.
It's all fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's the thing called life is what fucked us up, you know, and that can start at any age. That can look however you want to look, and you internalize that, especially as a kid. You know, you don't, especially as a kid, you hold on to that and you go inward with it. So, I think that is important what you just said there. Grace goes a long way for sure, especially when you look back on it.
Yeah, because I didn't have what I have now of like, I mean, all of it. I had this, I didn't necessarily have the support network that I had at the time. I think everyone around me, they were learning and growing in their own ways. I think, I don't know. I mean, I didn't have the perspective that I have now, and I'm not even that old, but like, I think.
Doesn't matter. You're older.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah.
You've come from point A to point B, and you've lived through some shit, and you've seen some shit, and now you're aware of some shit, Yeah,
and you gotta developing a muscle, like developing resilience. It's like building up a muscle. You have to practice it. You have to learn the skills for it. Not everyone is born with that trait. I don't think, not a psychologist, but like, I don't think everyone comes in to the starting line at the same place with that, of being able to weather really hard stuff. Sometimes what breaks someone doesn't even nick someone else. And so to get to this point now where I can reflect on this stuff and not feel resentment, not feel the anger, and not feel so like venomous about everything, and not feel so venomous towards anyone or even myself, did a lot of work, and it took a lot of time and hard, dirty, slimy or rotten work of like excavating through the shit and then piecing it back together with the lenses of grace and empathy and experience.
That right there is the hard work. Not just digging through the shit and figuring it all out, but then having grace and empathy and all that and understanding of it all while you put it back together. Because it's very easy to slip into, why did this happen to me? Whose fault is this? I can't believe I'm doing this. Yeah. So the fact that you handled it in that way is absolutely inspiring. So kudos to you. That's awesome.
Oops.
So you've been pretty open when you talk to me about your, getting a misdiagnosis and putting on heavy meds. That do anything for you for your trust in the medical system or yourself? Did it make you be like, you know what? Fuck the doctors. I don't want anything to do with this, Yeah. So you're a kid, you're feeling some type of way. When does it finally boil to the surface where finally something has to be done and now you have to get medical assistance?
Yeah. So I think at my baseline, I was really fortunate to have people around me who either like worked in the medical system or just utilized it. Like my grandfather was always, he went to the VA a lot, one because he was older and like he just generally had like a few chronic conditions. So he was always at the VA hospital. And then my mother works in healthcare and has worked in healthcare for years and years. And so my family of origin is one that is very trusting of the medical establishment and is very trusting of research and treatments. And so I think that already kind of gave me a bit of a leg up. And then I kind of like had to come out to my family of like, I have anxiety and I think I need to do something about this because this feels pretty bad.
Yeah.
And like I started off going to.
How old are you at this point?
I was in like 9th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't really until high school that we started like really seeking like real treatment for it. And throughout everything, like it's always been outpatient. And so very fortunate again to not having had to go inpatient and need that highest level of care. I mean, I might have needed it at some point, but like we just didn't pursue it. And so started with going to like school counselors at my high school. And then they pointed me towards someone actually who was based in media for like a group therapy kind of a thing. It just wasn't quite the right fit. And then I landed at a practice over in Drexel Hill that had like, it was run by a psychiatrist. It was his practice. And then he had a bunch of like therapists and counselors and social workers on staff that I was started going to see for weekly therapy. I was initially pretty resistant to starting off with like just regular pharmaceuticals. So we tried this like herbal regimen. Didn't work. And with herbal stuff, you get into like, they can have similar side effect profiles and interactions of varying severity, and so it wasn't totally different than.
Really? So when they say herbal, it's more
like supplements.
Light supplements, okay. Like obviously herb based, but like nothing too hard where it's
I didn't need
these synthetic drugs. Okay.
Yeah. That wasn't really working, and then I was like, give me the drug back. And then it was we started this cycle of just like trying different medications. I never really liked how they felt because I also, like, I was 15 at this time. I was still very new to like advocating for myself in a medical setting, mostly by myself. And so, and I didn't have the knowledge or, I didn't really have the tools to know where to research, like I do now. And so I know where to go for like trusted, reputable, science-based resources to check out any kind of new medication I'm thinking about taking. I know how to do that now, but I didn't know how to do it then.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, you're 15.
Yeah. And like, I was trying to like go through school. I was like trying not to like fail my classes and like just try to like stay on the boat.
Yeah. Be a kid in school on a boat. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I was still doing extracurriculars and like trying to have friends. And so it was just, I really didn't have much. I didn't have another choice but to trust this guy. And so we started on a couple of different like SSRIs, which is generally where people start, especially at that time. Like that was kind of like your entry point was the drug class of SSRI. And so I tried a couple of things. I wasn't really stoked about many of them. Some of them made me feel worse. Some kind of helped, but not really. And then I had asked him like, well, like would I benefit from like taking an ADHD med? Because like maybe that might be in the mix somewhere. Did not trigger like a formal assessment for that, but we did try an ADHD med that was like ADHD antidepressant hybrid. I was on that for a while. It was fine. From there, he left the practice. The next psychiatrist took over the practice. She just kind of assumed like, well, like your ADHD diagnosis, but I'm like, that's not really the full picture, and that's still missing a lot of stuff. She wasn't there for very long. And then the next psychiatrist to take over the practice.
This is the third doctor to take over the practice.
Yes.
Are they hearing you out, or really, are they just picking up the folder and being like, okay, let's pick up where we left off, pretty much?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The third one did, try to get to know me a little bit. And this is where this like misdiagnosis came in. She's like, asked me a bunch of questions. I'm like, yeah, like that kind of fit. Yeah. And then she comes out with this big word and she's just like, I'm diagnosing you with bipolar. And I'm like, that doesn't feel quite right. She said it. I was like, okay, you're the expert in the room. Like, I guess, like
you're the adult. I'm a kid. I guess so.
Like, I think by this point I was like, I might've been 17. I was still in high school. And so, it was just like, it felt not quite right.
Yeah.
But it also didn't feel super wrong, again, just because I didn't have the wherewithal to really like know where to look more into this to see like what are okay, like let me see, like can I get a second opinion? This doesn't feel right. I called my mom and she was like, that doesn't sound right. There's no family history of it as far as we know. And so but I was like, all right, like, let me give it a chance. Like, this is the doctor. And so like, I'm trusting her, and we started this regimen of meds, and it fucking sucked. It was very bad. And I have now come to learn that these are like kind of heavy hitting meds, and that.
Did it just douse you in like, I mean, what would just crush your mental state when you said it was really, really bad? What did that look like or feel like? That, especially as a 17-year-old who's trying to graduate high school. I mean, what did it do to you? Did it just take you down?
I mean, like I was gaining weight really fast, kind of despite going to the gym at the time. And, it's this very strange physical sensations. I just feel like my skin would feel like it was kind of electric at times. And then because the one medication we had to like taper up. And then, so as I was tapering up, he started this other one. So concurrently, two parallel, taking two at the same time. The one that we were tapering up, that was the one that like just, I feel like hit me with a cinder block. It just made me like, I still felt bad, but I also, it felt worse. I mean, I don't really remember a lot of this time as well. Like I know, and also like my grandfather died in the midst of this at one point. So I'm like, this is like, I'm losing a major parental figure, my only real like father figure.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to deal with this that like I know isn't right, doesn't feel right, but I need to like see this out because this is what the professional is saying. And yeah, I mean, like this is, I very weird physically. It never quite felt right, or that it was treating the right thing. So it all felt kind of off the mark. And I felt like I was being told I own all these things, and I'm like, none of this really feels right because no one is sitting, everyone's kind of taking my folder from the last person or taking my file from the last person. And like, no one's really asking me about it.
Right.
No one was really like, okay, well, like, what do you mean you have ADHD? Like, tell me about that. They're like, oh, like, you have ADHD. Oh, like, you have bipolar. And like, there was no like formal, there was no taking out of the DSM and being like, let's go through these symptoms.
Yeah, let's have a conversation about this.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying. I imagine there's a lot of people out there are going to be able to relate to that for sure.
Yeah, and this is all coming from someone who now still trusts the medical establishment.
Right.
I have since found better providers, and like, I know how to find people whose practice aligns with my values. So like, I see a great psych nurse now, and I'm now on a regimen that like works really well for me, and I feel great on it.
And you feel that it's right for you.
Yeah, because we tried stuff that didn't work, and I was like, this does not. I called her and I'm like, this does not work. We have to change it. She's like, okay,
yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah. So I'm the loss of your grandfather while you're dealing with all this was, and imagine a massive blow to you. You wrap up high school. On the same meds, or just did you drop them off and then get off them, or because you went to college, right?
I did go to college. I did not want to.
Yeah.
I think fortunately I didn't really have a choice. I really wanted to take a year off and like just figure my shit out while I was dealing with all this, and so
I'd imagine,
yeah, and I think rightfully so. Like, my family was like, if you don't go now, like, you're probably not going to go back. I'm like, I think in the moment I was like, of course, like very upset and like mad, but I was like, okay, I guess, like, sure, fine. I'll go to college, I guess. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, the timing of, I eventually just like decided, I'm like, this is enough. Like, I'm feeling worse and worse. I am circling the drain. Things got so bad that like, I was thinking about my life in terms of like days from now, instead of like, well, like in a few months. It was more just like, I don't know if I'm going to see like next Tuesday. Like, it was bad. And and like living with that kind of suicidality it's really hard. And I knew that the meds were at best not helping and at worst contributing to this. And so I kind of just tapered myself off. I don't recommend that. And across the board, bad idea.
Yeah.
In every situation. But I didn't feel like this provider was listening to me. I didn't feel like I had any other options. Because I went to her in one session and she seemed really frustrated. And she was like, all right, well, the next step is lithium. And I'm like, I'm not fucking taking lithium. Or you be so for real. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And so like, that was the moment where I'm like, I do not trust this person anymore. I don't trust her as a provider. This practice I'm done. Like, this was just not working anymore.
I know you say you don't recommend that at all, which is smart saying that out loud to people, but you also felt like you had to do what you had to do to survive, especially if this doctor was just flat out not listening to you and not taking you seriously.
Yeah. And to be like a young woman in this position, to be attending really all but like one or two of these appointments by myself, like it was just, I was like, if no one else is going to like either do anything about this or like be there to help me advocate for myself or advocate for me, then like it was up to me. And like, I think despite how much my mental state was veering and edging closer and closer to the edge, into the abyss, I think I always, no matter how badly I felt, I always had this thread in myself pushing me towards, or I always had this thread in myself of, I need to figure this out. It's like, it felt like a primal survival instinct that I can't really explain. I can't touch, I can't feel, but it has always kind of been there.
Like there was like deep down, you knew that there was an issue that had to be figured out.
Yeah, I had to figure this out. Like, no matter how bad, like, because I think I knew what was coming if I didn't figure it out.
Wow.
And if I made that choice, I would have caused irreparable harm, I think, to everyone around me. And I was like, I can't do that. That is untenable to me. And so I need to figure this out. I got to like white knuckle grit through it And I had to do something that was unhealthy for me.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, I think it was the right decision for me.
Right.
But dear listener, don't do that. You can get Stephen Johnson syndrome, and that's really bad. So I was risking a lot, but I was also like, fuck that, fuck the risks.
Yeah.
So, like,
again, like you said earlier, you have to give yourself grace. You felt like you had to do it's the knowledge you had back then.
Yeah.
You know?
Do it differently now, but
yeah. So, all right. So you're off to college. And you just start smoking a shit ton of weed?
a fair amount.
Fair amount?
Because my freshman year is pretty widely available. It's college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, also, like, kind of found my way into crowds who, like, did that kind of stuff. I didn't really party. I didn't really drink, but, like, I'd smoke weed.
Yeah.
Felt nice. I felt cool. And, like, I was away from home for the time being. And so that's kind of where it picked up. But then, and I was the only person of my major at the time. And also, being 18, like, kind of sucks generally. And then doing that all the way from home.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out the rest of my life, or what I thought I had to figure out the rest of my life.
I'm still trying to figure out who you are on top of that as well.
Who am I?
Yeah.
I don't know. And so, yeah, and like, it was just kind of a mess. I still did well. I mostly always did well academically.
I was going to ask you that at one point, like, throughout all of this, what are your grades like? What is school like? I mean, besides school's awful, but like, academically, what are you?
Pretty good. I mean,
pretty all right.
I had good relationships with my professors.
Yeah.
So at one point my plan was to like double major in bass performance and then political science. I did a brief study abroad in Belize, really cool. And like those professors, I was like, I want to be like them. Like, they're really smart. They're really cool. But then like life stuff gets in the way. And so despite everything, I'm still like acing my classes.
Man, that's impressive.
Well, the thing about college was like it wasn't the academics that were hard for me. And like, I don't say that to like brag, but like
That's fine. You can brag.
Yeah.
For me, it was the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, I could get along with everybody. It's the actually going to class and trying in school was super tough for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I could sit down and write a paper and like, so, and that's also when I was like kind of clued in. I'm like, I don't have ADHD. Like, I wrote a paper in a night and it was good. I still got like an A on it. And so just wanting to do well. And also because it hinged on an external factor, I think like I needed to make, I didn't need to, but I wanted to make the people around me like feel proud of what I was doing away from home and like do in school and like.
So your mental state at this point, you're not on any meds now? Are you kind of just
a raw dog in life?
Yeah, just out there, raw dog in life.
Yeah.
But you're still doing decent at college, right? You're still doing well at school.
Yeah.
You're back at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's that look like now that you're back at home? What's life back at home?
I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
And so I was not on meds and then pursued the meds for the bipolar diagnosis. And I mean, my mental state was fine. Like, I was staying busy. Like, I could never and still can't really have idle hands. Like, I was always doing something.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have days off. I was always either at school, going to class, or I was to stay on campus for most of my days, getting my work done there, so I didn't have to do it at home. And then I would go to work. And so, I mean, I think my body could just do it because I'm so young. And so, but also I think I just needed to keep going and not, because if I had too much idle time, like I can't think about this. I cannot think about like what's going on in my head, like how badly this stuff was going with this one medical provider. And then even after taking myself off of the medication and stopping seeing her, I was like, all right, I need to figure out how to raw dog life. And so I just kept going.
Yeah. So you said you faced moments where it felt like choices were either to push forward or just not be around anymore. You said the word like oblivion, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, when I don't know if I would necessarily call it a rock bottom for me. I don't know if that's appropriate for my situation, but very much at that moment, and then really throughout my mental health struggle, it was like, all right, well, I either like figure it out and I find a way forward, or I kill myself. Like that, those are the options in front of me.
So was that what kept you pushing forward then? For somebody who's in that spot, who feels, these are my only two options. What kept you going? What kept you pushing forward?
I mean, That's the $1 million answer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I felt it during, at the moment as well. Like when I was in it, I just felt like it wasn't even really like, it didn't feel like it was my choice to just keep going. I think it was at the moment, and even now, I think it was something primal where I'm just like, option B is so untenable. Like that's just not a real option to me. It was very serious, and it was always kind of looming over me of like, you don't figure this out, like that's where this is heading. And so it was one during the time where option B became more and more feasible. I was like, this is bad because this has never been a real option before. This has never been a real path.
What was it about your life at that point? Like, what did your life look like where option B was becoming more and more prevalent in your mind? Like,
yeah, I mean, it was just, I think, the pain of being medicated for a condition I didn't have, of being on meds that weren't helping me, or of being on meds that were actively harming me. Because it wasn't about like creating destruction around me. It was about just stopping how I was feeling. I felt so bad, and I was having such vivid and visceral images of going through with that. To put it lightly, to keep it PG. And so once those thoughts and feelings became, they just became more and more of just being too much. And I was like, I can't just power through this. Like, this is becoming too heavy. It's becoming too painful.
Are you vocalizing this to anybody in particular at any point, or are you?
I told my psych, and she's like, well, we're not giving you benzos anymore. I'm like, shit. Because I told her, like, if I was going to do it, that's how I would do it. And like,
well, yeah, I'd go ahead and say that's a huge red flag for, yeah. So, you're in it pretty hard right now. Or, we'll keep on calling it option B for right now, but option B is becoming more and more prevalent in what you're, like you said, the visceral, things you're seeing and feeling. Do you remember like an actual time or an actual point in time in your life where you thought to yourself, okay, maybe I can do this. I can start pushing back. I can start fighting back and clawing back for, the life that you want. You remember a specific time when any kind of turning point, or?
I mean, I didn't really like, the turning point was just like, all right, like my plan to do this is it's too real and it's too solidified.
Right. You wrote to me, which I thought was really interesting, was you knew it was serious when you stopped wanting to move forward, when my months turned to weeks, turned to days from now. I visualized the life draining from my body in the bathtub. These were fantasies. I felt no pleasure in these images. To confront and reckon my capacity for violence towards myself was scary, even sobering. I felt innately and irreparably broken. Well, that's heavy. That's some heavy shit.
Oh man, I told you that shit.
And I say that because, there's somebody out there feeling that same thing, possibly right now.
Oh yeah, big time.
And that is scary. That is sobering. You speak to when these things you started thinking about this. You said, I learned on the fly how to advocate for myself, get new doctors and therapists, do the real work. So what did that mean? You just kind of put your foot down with the doctor that was just...
Yep. I just stopped going. I stopped seeing her. I canceled my appointments. I'm like, this is just not working. Once I could tell how frustrated she was with me, I was like, that's fucked up. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm such a problem. And then I just stopped going. I canceled my appointments. I stopped taking her calls because I'm just like, I can't do this with this, in this setting, in this practice, with this provider.
You're not moving forward. You're not getting better.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not about to start a very serious treatment that I just knew was not the one for me. And so I knew this was not going to be effective for me. And like, this was not where I wanted my life to go at this point. And it had already gotten bad enough where I'm like, this just is not working. And so, I mean, it was probably more than a couple of years. It was a few years where I was just raw dogging it, trying to make it work.
Just out there.
Just doing life. Smoking a lot of weed.
Yeah.
And it was fun. I was doing well in school. The only semester where I did really poorly was when I was seeing that provider. I failed 2 classes because I think I just wanted to punish myself.
Right.
And I didn't withdraw from them. I just stopped going and I got 2 Fs.
Yeah.
And then I retook those classes later on. And because I was like, all right, I need to right the ship. I need to improve my GPA.
Yeah.
And so I just kept going. I kept going to work. I kept smoking weed. I kept hanging out with my restaurant friends. I kept going to school and like doing my studies. And it was
You ended up graduating with honors, right?
I graduated summa cum laude.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Especially since everything were dealing with and was, dealt with.
Yeah.
To
And I
graduate
did
with
smoking
honors.
Newports, man.
Newports nonetheless. It's got fiberglass in there.
Yeah, that's what makes them so spicy. I love my Newport.
Yeah, forget all the mental stuff. Just the fact that you graduated while smoking Newports is the most impressive thing.
I smoked the shorties, not the hundos. I was not tough enough for those.
No.
And I tried the Marlboro menthols at one point. You know what? I did like the Marlboro 27s. Those were nice.
I remember the ones where you squeeze the middle and the cigarette would turn into a menthol
Camel Crunch.
halfway through it. That's
They
what
made
it
it
was.
a game.
Yeah.
I like those were fine.
Yeah.
Um.
So you graduate with honors.
Yes.
At this point, life's decent, right? I feel like when you wrote to me too, you said you still felt like this craving to numb yourself and dissolve into oblivion despite graduating, having a boyfriend, having a job, making new friends.
Oh yeah, all that stuff is so like in the timeline. Yes,
Mhm.
I still wanted to like numb out and like sink into oblivion. Did not have a boyfriend at the time. When I graduated college, I didn't get to walk because it was May 2020. So it was like,
Oh, yeah.
which
yeah.
like it was fine. I don't know. I did. It was just too much going on, and I'm like, I would not have the opportunity to do this, and so it was just whatever. I mean, I think numbing myself out with smoking a lot of weed, I think the height of it was during college, but then, I mean, I had to slow down once I was in like the real world because I was like working an office job where it's like working with kids. And I'm just like, I can't be like, they didn't have as much of a place in my life for a time. And then, I mean, I think by that point, I had found a new psych provider. I liked her a lot. And I told her everything. I told her my whole journey so far to that point. And it's always really telling. Every time I see a new psych provider, I tell them my story of like, all right, here's the deal. Here's everything I've been on. Here's what worked. Here's what doesn't. Here's what I liked. Here's what I didn't like.
Right.
Here's the diagnosis that I thought I had. Here's what here's what these providers told me. Here's what happened. And then at the end of it, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, yay.
Well, at least it means they're listening, right?
Very much listening.
Right.
Which is good. And
Yeah.
like, so found, a really great provider. And I liked her a lot. And she like knew her stuff, and she carved out this niche of the kind of clientele that she worked with.
Right.
We ended up finding something that worked really well for a long time, and then she retired, and life was pretty okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I was still living at home until I wasn't, and then
So, I mean, what was your mental state throughout? I mean, like in terms of like, you're pretty much.
well, I mean, I think it's really important to talk about like. So I included the stuff about smoking a ton of weed and like the feeling of oblivion, like that didn't really go away.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much I was improving, like until like 2 or 3 years ago at this point, I think it was 2 years, I would have this cycle of, I would be like, I'm okay to smoke weed. I'll just do it here and there casually at the end of the day, especially like when I was still in the restaurant industry and still working retail, like I would smoke at night to help me get to sleep and like
Right.
just calm down. And so, but once I was working like, a 9 to 5 or at one point it was like a 10 to 6 or a 10 to 7, I didn't really need it quite as much, but then I would still smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it would also depend on like who my plug was. Like, were they reliable? Was I, and I would kind of go through a bunch of different people, and it would ebb and flow where I smoked casually, kind of smoked more regularly, and then I would smoke all the time.
Mhm.
Any chance I got outside of work hours, I wouldn't show up to work stoned. I mean, it would fuck up my sleep. My insomnia was really bad. It was also starting to affect how my medication was helping me. Like, it was affecting. But I would just get into the cycle of like, I'm fine. I can use this substance casually. I'm using it more because I'm so fine. I have
Right.
such a fine, regular, normal
You
relationship.
dip your toes in and be like, oh, this is fine. I'm handling this is just fine. And then it'll just like, oh, a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm doing just fine.
Yeah. Everything's fine until I was like, oh, I'm smoking. I'm going through like way too much weed, way too soon.
What's it doing with your medication at this point?
I think it was impeding like how effective it was. And like, so, and I have since learned that like, yeah, like when you're smoking a ton of marijuana, like it will affect how your body metabolizes, really any medication, but especially the SSRI that I was on at the time, because it like messes with how your liver can process it and like its concentration in your blood. And so I was using it to like just escape what? My good life. Like, and so I always had this, I mean, what turned into maybe, I think at its worst was a compulsion, but maybe at best was this kind of hunger, this itch to just not feel much of anything. Or like I was pursuing like the very brief euphoria that I would get in being stoned. But then I would just feel like my body felt stale. Like I would feel dried out. I felt like a crusty, dry sponge. And then it started affecting like how I was like, how I felt like I was performing at work. No one ever said anything. It was fine. But like, I was just so it not only made me hypercritical, but it also like made me feel slower in my daily life, at work, everywhere. And so I would go through that cycle where I noticed how bad it made me feel, and then I was like, then I would swear off the stuff forever. And then a few months would go by and be like, actually, I would again, and I'm fine. I can be fine.
I'm going to set boundaries this time.
Yeah, and then the boundaries slip, and it's a very familiar, predictable.
Yes, I knew that very well.
Yeah,
for sure. So when did it get to the point where, you figured, you know what, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't keep smoking. You have to bring the axe down, completely cut it out, which I imagine was pretty tough.
Yeah. And it had to come from someone else. I think once I reached that point, like I knew, but like it all culminated. I was like sitting laying on the floor in my old apartment in like the middle of the day. And I was just like crying. I'm like, why do I feel like shit still? Like, I still feel so bad. And like, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is untenable. And it was my boyfriend, who I'm still with and very much in love with, and who has made my life better in every possible way. He had to ask me, like, you need to stop. Like, he was like, I'm asking you to do this for me. And I'm like, I can't say no to that, because I can't. Because now, like, there's much more at stake. It's not just me. Like, I can destroy myself. Like, that's whatever. Like,
right. I mean, it goes back to when you were thinking about option B. You didn't want to do it because of the fallout and how much it would hurt people.
I can't make this anybody else's problem.
Right. I can't make this anybody else's problem.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And I had to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much he has noticed this either, but I think the more time that I spent abstaining, the less that he smoked as well. Just like, I was like, fine. I was like, all right, if you're going to do it, like, I can't tell you what to do. This is not your journey. This is my journey. If you're going to do it, like, for a long time, I was like, I can't even really be near it. So,
well, yeah.
So I wanted it.
That smell alone is very specific.
I love the smell of it, the feel of it, I just like.
Do you find yourself ever getting agitated or annoyed or jealous from other people being able to enjoy it, and you can't? Because I mean, that's what, and then like in this way, and in no way is this podcast damning weed or marijuana for sure. But it's the same thing with like me and alcohol. Like I was like, I can't, just because I can't handle my shit doesn't mean nobody else should be able to either. You know what I mean? This is just me. But it was also hard. I would look at somebody and be like, damn, that person could just go out and have like 1 or 2 beers and that's it. That's so
fucking normal.
Cool.
What the fuck?
Like, yeah. You know what I mean? I would just go to 190 no matter what, you know? And do you find yourself nowadays every once in a while being jealous of people who can smoke and hang out?
Yeah, people who can like, God, I'm so mean. You're very mean. I'm like, fuck.
Disgustingly mean.
You can have such a great job and you can make more money than me and you can have all the things in your life and you get to be fucking stoned. God damn. And so like, I mean, I'm just like that. And that's...
Well, no, I mean, it's human emotion, you know, or it's human. I get that because it's something that is essentially harmless. Yeah. But for some people, it's not harmless, you know, and for you, especially coming from all the mental shit, that you fought through and got to the other side with, you know what I mean? To have, it just obviously it wasn't working for you. It wasn't doing you any favors.
Yeah, it wasn't doing me any favors. And then it was reinforcing like the neural pathway and like the mental, not really muscle, but like definitely the neural pathway that this is the process.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I smoke a bunch of weed. I numb out my feelings. I get to binge on junk food. And like, it was also like the pursuit of the sensation, like the heightened sensation of the food, of like that snacking and stuff. And like, so it touched so many parts, so many bad habits, and then so many dysfunctional pathways and coping mechanisms that there was just no way that I could have a healthy relationship, healthy air quotes, relationship with the substance for any length of time.
Yeah.
And so despite like, I got into like a great, healthy, stable, very loving, respectful relationship, and I still wanted to smoke a lot of weed. We moved in together and I still wanted to smoke a lot of weed. I got a good, decent enough job. Like I was working fully remote for a nonprofit in New Jersey, serving like, you couldn't hate this mission if you tried. They were serving the most underserved communities, and I had a hand in that, and I was pretty successful in it too. Awesome. And like writing, like at that point, I was writing like whole grants about subjects that I was not the expert in, and we still got funded. And so, and still like none of that felt like it was enough. Once it all stopped being enough for me, that I still had to pursue, that I still craved and wanted, and I would itch for it. Like oblivion, and because that's what it was. It was just like annihilation of just like dissolving into nothingness and like just letting go of the tension, of the anxiety, of everything.
And I think that's why, that's you already had that in you, and then we just kind of heightened it. Yeah.
And so because of all of that, sometimes like I'll be out with friends and love my friends, love my support network. And sometimes it's just too much. Or just like, I fucking hate that I can't be like this. I resent that I can't be normal about this. I resent that. You
don't resent your friends for doing it. You don't resent anybody.
Not that.
But you resent the fact that you can't partake.
Can't do it. I'm not cool. I can't be cool like this anymore. And I'm like, and I think I'm doing it like, I feel like I'm still too young to have this kind of relationship with a substance, to have had to examine every part of what goes into this relationship with the substance, why this substance, what's like, turn it over like a stone in my hand a million times, do all that hard work, figure it all out, and still miss it, still want it, still resent myself, and just the fact that I can't do it.
So have you come to terms with it and come to peace with it at all, or not yet?
Yeah.
Are you still working on that?
Yes, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It's a bummer. But it's been a really good practice. And like,
how do you feel? How have you been feeling?
It's not heavy anymore for a long time.
Yeah.
For a long time, it was like every day I was like, I miss it. And sometimes I would just have to sit and just like sit through it and sit in it, and then just have it wait. I had to wait for it to pass. And that sucks.
I think, like you said earlier in the episode, give yourself grace. Pat yourself on the back. I'm impressed because of everything you've come from. And also, marijuana is a plant from Earth,
Yeah, it's so normal.
It is so normal. And it is really, really nice. And it is a beautiful thing. And it sucks that everything you've come from, your body is still like, nope, can't have this either.
Nope.
And I feel that, that's brutal. So, it's rough, but also kudos to you for putting in the work and realizing that and stopping, because that is not easy.
It's not.
Especially nowadays where there's a dispensary every 7 miles.
You can get like a gas station weed, and like, that's the thing, but like, it's the culture of like the friends that I'm in, the friends I'm around, like it's very normal. And like, it's also like the broader culture, like there's, I think of it of like, if I was doing this with alcohol, like it would have been a much different conversation really from the start. And I think because of, I think it's alcohol is and will be in many situations, a much more outwardly and in really destructive substance. There's a lot more death associated. It's just for all of the reasons. Weed, it's like, well, it's like there's such a culture. There's a culture around using a ton of weed, of being a pothead, of being a deadhead, of like, of even like more broadly psychedelics culture. It's fun. There's tie-dye. There's all of this like.
Sure, but there's still always a limit to everything.
Yeah.
No matter how good it may be, and you can always overdo it. And some people just don't have that line. I mean, it's me and alcohol. I don't have that line. I overdo it. Even that's just how it is sometimes with people. So
yeah.
So kudos to you to finding that line and then cutting that off.
Yeah, I mean it's hard, and being I think 2 years into it now, that the gremlin doesn't go away.
Yeah,
and that's how I know. Like, it's just more confirmation of like, oh, like I have to keep doing. I have to keep
putting in the work.
Yeah, constantly, because now I look around and like we just moved. My boyfriend and I just moved into a really nice place.
Yeah,
in a nice neighborhood. We are like integrating our lives together. I have a great job at a great place to work where I do important work, and I feel good about the work that I do. I get good feedback. I have a great support network of my family. I have a great support network of my friends who all of them show up for me too. And yet I still have this golem in my brain that is like, well, what if you just...
So how do you balance that gratitude and that struggle, that golem, as you say? Like, how do you balance that?
It's just a thought. I mean, they're just thoughts. I mean, and I think similar, like sometimes I literally very literally just have to sit and just let it pass.
Yeah.
No, it's been a lot of practice of like, this is just not forever. It's feeling, it's a craving, and that's all it is. Unless, and I'm the only person that can give that can give that golem any credence, any life, any skin is me. And it doesn't control me anymore. I mean, I don't know if it's fair to say that it did, but
it certainly played a big part of your life at one point.
Yeah. And so like, I think it's been a realization that like, that's always going to be part of me. I can't squash it out, but like.
I mean, that's pretty badass that A, you recognize that right off the bat, and then B, that you sit and you let it pass. Because that was going to be my next question is, how do you deal with that? And what are some practices you put in place to deal with that? And the fact that you kind of just sit and let it pass. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. I mean, part of that is, it's the accountability part. Like despite my numerous attempts in the past to like, the cycle that I was in where it didn't work. I don't think a lot of it stuck because I was only accountable to myself, and I was only accountable to the golem. And I didn't have to look at my relationship with the substance because it was just me. I didn't have to tell anyone. It took my boyfriend coming to me and we came together, and we collaborated on making that promise to each other. But, and I'm like, I'm accountable to someone else now.
Yeah.
And,
for sure.
I mean, we came together again, like very collaboratively. And I was just like, this is what's going to help me. And I can't have it in the house. You can do whatever you want. You don't have a problem with this like I do, but like, I need you to not. You can do it. That's not the issue. Do it outside or do it in the bathroom and leave the window open. And like, I needed to have barriers. And I was like, you can have it. Don't tell me where it is. I don't want to know. And like I told him like, I needed to be with me, and I would share with him. I'm like, I really want to smoke right now. It's fine. I'm not gonna do anything about it, but like, I want you to know. That's what I'm feeling. And having him, it was a really important process, but still a hard process for us to learn how to be there for each other. It was really important to my process of like sharing with anyone really, but especially this person who is so important to me, of like, I'm feeling this right now and I needed to be here with me in this moment, and it sucks, but I need to be accountable, and I'm committing myself to being accountable and upholding this promise. And so I'm sharing it.
Hell yeah. I mean, I think that speaks to you as a kid, when you're holding all that stuff inward, like you said, and fighting through all those mental demons for the longest time, for you to kind of finally find a safe space in your boyfriend and be able to say that to him, like, I'm going through it right now and need you to know that. I mean, that's huge. That's a beautiful thing right there.
And it was hard. It wasn't like we had to like learn how to do it. Like I had to do the work on my own with my therapist of like, what is something tangible? Like I need an action plan. I need steps to like, here's what to look out for. Here's what I know I'm going to be. I know myself. Like, here's what I'm going to do. Here, how do I fortify myself by installing like defenses? And that was one of them. Of like, I needed him to show up with me because every time I was out, it was usually with him. And so I'm like, I needed a friend with me in the trench. I needed like an ally. I needed the accountability buddy. But I had to learn what I needed by doing the work myself with my now like very trusted provider. And then I had to take that to him, and then we had to work on that together. And so even though he has been a really integral part of this process, it still had to start with me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He was doing it for me.
Yep. I feel like, that's kind of your story. Had to start with you. You had to put in the work.
All the time to save you.
Right. You had to dig yourself out.
Yep. You got to claw out. Fingernails are gone. You're in the dirt. You're in the shit. But you got yourself out. Kudos
to you. It's pretty awesome.
Wow.
You've called yourself an imposter because you never thought you'd live past 21. How do you reconcile that with the person you are now?
And it was sad. I think about like what I share with other people, like whether it's with a provider or like new friends, or I mean, I'm not like opening my friendships with
Hi, I'm Carrie. Let's talk about my mental issues when I was younger. Yeah. Although I don't know what the world would be like if everybody opened up friendships like that right off the bat. It might be a beautiful place, or it might be more damaged.
No,
I don't know.
Study social works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, it's sad. I think about it, and I'm like, that sucked. I mean, it's a bummer. But I forget, like, I think because I've done so much work, and I've had so much time to really look back on it and put time and space between that version of me and the current version of myself. It's just, I'm not so close to touching it. It's not quite as tangible. And so I reconcile it. I mean, my birthdays are kind of sad sometimes. I'm like, still here, still dealing with it.
Yeah. Still in it.
Still in it. And I come around to the same issues, similar issues, all along the spiral. Like time is a flat circle, and I come around each time to similar issues or the same issues as a different version, a different person with different skills in your back pocket, with a different toolkit, with different people around you. And every time is an opportunity to try again, to do it more gracefully, to do it more thoughtfully, with more love.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And
that's some powerful shit right there. Yeah. And I love that. I mean, that's great. Yeah, you are. Every time you're leveling up, every time you come across these issues, no matter how many times. Yeah. That's awesome. If you could go back and speak to yourself in one of your lowest moments, what's the one thing you'd want her to know?
She's not listening to me. What do you mean? She's not listening to anybody.
I mean, that's fair.
It's tough, I think, because I had no concept of any other way to be, of any other way to feel, but I don't know that, like, I mean,
you don't know that there's actual one thing to say at that point, or?
I mean, it does get better. You just gotta keep doing it. You have to keep going forward. It doesn't matter where, like, it does matter. Like, you have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. I don't like cliches now. I didn't like them then. But
there's a reason that a lot of people that come on here, a lot of people, you're literally the third guest, but the third person in a row. But no, I mean, there's a reason that people keep saying that. Not everything has to be this beautiful poetic line, of perseverance. It really is like, no, you just have to keep going and trust that it's going to get better. It's going to suck for a while, and it's going to be brutal for a minute, but it is going to get better.
The only way out is through.
Yeah.
No one's doing it for you. No one's doing the work for you. Yeah. You have to do it. I had to do it. Everyone, no matter what it is, whether it's, I mean, and also like all this stuff said, like, I've also had it like pretty easy. And like, I've never been, all of the things never.
Not that we're all comparing each other.
I know
what you mean.
Yeah.
For sure. For someone who's like listening, who feels the same like gnawing craving for oblivion, or possibly option B, What's one step that they can take today towards like the bright side, towards a better path?
I mean, no one else can do this but you. Either way, it's up to you. You have to decide. And this is not like speaking down or like, I'm not trying to be cynical, but like no one's going to do anything about it but yourself. And you get to decide what it is that you do next, whether it's reach out to someone that you trust, which I know can be hard. Trusting that the people you have around you and that you have in your life can be trusted, but telling somebody like, this is what I'm going through. I need someone in here with me in this. I think that can be a good first step depending on really what's around you. I mean, it depends on like the safety of your surroundings, safety of your relationships, safety of your like living situation, of your housing situation. But I think taking the first step is reaching out to somebody, whether it's a stranger on like the 988 crisis line or other like state and local resources. Finding someone in your support network who might have gone through something similar, who can show up with you and be with you there in that moment. Identifying that person, I think, is the first kind of step out of the hole.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that person, I mean, there are resources. There's always resources. There's always ways to change what you're going through and what's happening. But you have to be brave enough and have the gumption and have the courage of your convictions to do something about it.
Yeah.
And not to be like momish and not to be victim blaming. It's someone's fault. And it's not, but really like nothing is going to change. Nothing's going to happen until you do it.
Yeah.
And that can be empowering or that can be disempowering.
One of the lines I heard was, even if you don't like you is all you got.
That's it.
So
you got. Oh, well, you're stuck.
Start. And you're right. I mean, there is, no matter what you're going through in any aspect of your life, there is somebody out there in this massive fucking world that will listen to you, that will hear you, that will offer some sort of advice, will just sit in it with you. Somebody, for sure, who has gone through it. How are you today? How are things now? How's your brain?
Good. Things are good.
Yeah.
I always like to focus on like my productivity. It makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But also it helps me like remember that like I'm a person of the world. And so like I got up, went, I got medically necessary Botox done in my face and in my head for my headaches and migraines. So that was fun.
Hell yeah.
I did some work. I did some meetings. I'm currently working on a number of projects, but met with a doctor and his team for it's complicated. It's basically a project to get parents of children who smoke to stop smoking. And it's providing nicotine replacement therapy and...
For the children to quit smoking?
For the parents.
For the parents to quit smoking, okay.
Parents of children who smoke.
Wow.
Children with parents who smoke.
Got it.
Yeah. We're going to... the clinical team is going to study 700 people and try to get them to quit smoking. And this is a study that will help establish this research to be applicable on a national scale. And that's really exciting. And then I went to Trader Joe's and I got some snacks. And then I got to come and hang out with you in this podcast and hang out with your animals.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Feeling pretty good.
That's awesome. What does Braving the Brightside look like for you today?
I mean, I've already been through my worst. I've already been in my bottom. I've already seen the worst and sat with the worst that I could do to myself, and no one can really top that. No one can do worse than what I've already done to myself. So
welcome to the bright side.
Here we are.
Here we are. And what a bright side it is. I mean, your story that's a hell of a story. No, I mean, it's incredible. You should absolutely have pride in where you've come from and the work that you've put in, from everything from when you're a kid dealing with feeling like muck and feeling with your mental battles, to a teenager, to being in college, misdiagnosed is terrifying. you always hear these stories, and it's absolutely terrifying to hear. You said like you don't recommend it, but you did what you had to do, and just stop taking your meds, graduating with honors, and then you've self-medicated with, like you said, a shit ton of weed, and then even then you had to something you really do enjoy and love. You had to cut that out for the betterment of you and also your relationship with your boyfriend, and you've built quite the life for yourself.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's really cool.
It is. I feel really cool.
Yeah, you should. It's an amazing story.
But I still don't know what a labubu is, so I'm not very cool.
A labubu? Is that one of the keychain things, or like a stuffed animal or something?
Yeah, and
is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're too big to be on there.
Oh, okay. Maybe I made
they're like doll size. I don't know.
Right. No, they are.
And I'm buying like harnesses. Anyway.
Didn't somebody just rob a store and steal like $13,000 worth of labubus?
Oh, I don't even know. But you know what? Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah. Steal more.
Steal more. Eat the rich. Eat labubus.
That's great. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for letting me use your freezer.
Yeah. Don't forget your Trader Joe's food.
I can't. There's too much at stake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure you say goodbye to John Ralphio and Vigo.
I'm going to hold
on the way out. And thank you so much for coming by, Carrie.
Thank you for having me.
Hell yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, thanks for kicking ass, and keep kicking ass, and listen, have a lovely night.
You too.
I'll see you around.
Hopefully the rain stops.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll see you.
Bye.
Bye. Man, what a journey. I just want to take a moment to thank Carrie for her openness today. It takes an incredible amount of courage to share the hard parts. The days where you feel lost, the moments you thought you wouldn't make it through. That kind of vulnerability is a gift, not just to me as a host, but to everyone listening who might be in their own fight right now. If you take anything from today's conversation, I hope it's this. Mental health is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about showing up for yourself on the days when it feels impossible and allowing yourself to be seen, even when you feel broken. Carrie's story is proof that there's strength in the cracks, beauty in the rebuilding, and a life worth living on the other side of the struggle. If you yourself are out there and you're struggling, please know there are a ton of options to turn to. You can text HOME to 741741. It's 24/7, it's free, and it's completely confidential. A non-crisis support via chat line Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Mental Health Partnerships. Just Google it. They have numbers, they have emails, they have live chat online. And there's a multitude of other options if you just need somebody. Carrie, thank you for reminding us that healing is messy, but it's also possible. And for anyone who's listening, who's in the thick of it right now, please know you're not alone. And please know that your story is not over yet. Well, that'll do it for episode 4. Thanks for swinging back around. And thanks for spending a little time on the bright side with me today. If this episode resonated with you, share with a friend, hit that follow button, and help keep the space growing a little bit. And hey, if you've got a story you'd like to share, I would love to hear it. Reach out anytime at bravingthebrightside@gmail.com or on Instagram at braving_. I think that's the word, right? Yeah. At braving_, whatever, at bravingthebrightside.com. You'll find it somewhere. New episodes drop every Friday at 2 p.m. Until then, keep braving it. One step, one sunrise at a time. I'll see you next time.